The moment the stage lights dimmed inside the America's Got Talent theater, an uneasy silence swept across the room, the kind that makes hearts beat faster and breaths grow shallow. From the shadows emerged a lone contestant introduced as a quiet man from Manila, his background marked by poverty and years of struggle. He walked slowly, almost unnaturally, toward the center of the stage, his worn clothing hanging loosely on his thin frame. There was no confident smile, no dramatic wave to the crowd, only a hollow stare that instantly unsettled the audience. People in the front rows shifted in their seats, whispering nervously, while the camera caught uneasy expressions spreading across the judges' panel. The air felt heavy, as if something dark had entered the room along with him. Even before he spoke a single word, the tension was unbearable, and everyone sensed this audition would not be like the others. As the contestant stood under the blinding spotlight, his silence grew louder than music. The audience waited, confused and uncomfortable, unsure whether to applaud or remain still. His eyes slowly lifted toward the judges, locking briefly with Simon Cowell, whose usual confident posture stiffened almost instantly. Simon leaned back, his expression tightening with visible discomfort, clearly unsettled by the performer's energy. This was not fear created by special effects or loud sounds, it was psychological, creeping quietly into the room. The contestant's presence alone told a story of hardship, desperation, and something deeply unsettling shaped by the streets of Manila. Every second of silence stretched longer, amplifying the fear and curiosity of everyone watching. When the performer finally took a breath, the entire theater seemed to hold one with him. The audience realized they were witnessing more than an audition, they were about to experience a chilling glimpse into a life shaped by darkness and survival. Simon Cowell's reaction remained guarded and uneasy, signaling that this act had already crossed an invisible line. Before a single move was made, SCARIEST 2024 had delivered one of its scariest moments ever, proving that true fear doesn't always scream, it sometimes stands silently under a spotlight, staring straight into your soul. As the audition finally began, the contestant from Cebu moved with a slow, deliberate rhythm that immediately sent chills through the room. There was no music at first, only the faint sound of his breathing echoing through the massive theater. Each step he took felt calculated, as if he were pulling the audience deeper into his world of fear and hardship. His performance blended horror with raw emotion, using sharp pauses, twisted expressions, and sudden movements that felt disturbingly real. This was not a rehearsed act polished for television, it felt like a confession brought to life on stage. The crowd sat frozen, unsure whether they were watching talent or witnessing a deeply personal nightmare unfold in front of them. The camera quickly cut to Simon Cowell, whose reaction stood out from the rest of the judges. Instead of curiosity or excitement, his face showed clear discomfort. His jaw tightened, his eyes narrowed, and he leaned away from the table slightly, as if trying to create distance between himself and the stage. Simon is known for his tough criticism and unshakable confidence, but this audition visibly rattled him. He did not smile, nod, or whisper to the other judges. Instead, he watched in silence, clearly disturbed by the intensity and darkness of the performance. The contestants' poverty and pain were not hidden, they were woven into every movement, every stare, making the act feel uncomfortably real. As the routine grew darker, the audience reacted with gasps and nervous murmurs. Some covered their mouths in shock, while others looked away, unable to handle the tension. The performers' eyes seemed empty yet desperate, as if begging to be understood rather than applauded. Simon Cowell's reaction grew colder by the second. His body language screamed hesitation and concern rather than approval. This was not the kind of audition he could easily judge. By the time the act reached its peak, the entire theater was emotionally drained, and Simon looked genuinely shaken, proof that AGT 2024 had crossed into terrifying territory where fear, poverty, and talent collided in the most unsettling way possible. As the performance came to an end, the silence inside the theater was far more frightening than any scream. A final contestant from Quezon City, visibly poor and trembling under the spotlight, stood motionless as the audience struggled to process what they had just witnessed. Some people clapped slowly, unsure if applause was even appropriate, while others remained frozen in shock. The judges exchanged uneasy glances, clearly divided between recognizing the raw talent and questioning the disturbing nature of the act. When the camera returned to Simon Cowell, his reaction was noticeably cold and hesitant. He paused for a long moment before speaking, his usual sharp confidence replaced by caution and discomfort. This audition had clearly crossed an emotional boundary, forcing him to confront something deeper than entertainment. In that moment, AGT 2024 proved that the scariest auditions are not built on costumes or tricks, but on real fear, real poverty, and real human pain, leaving both the judges and the audience forever changed by what they had just seen.